On today's show, Chevy brings back the Blazer and the UAW is not happy. Volvo develops self-parking technology for yachts, and PSA thinks it can make big money in ride-sharing. All that and more coming right up on Autoline Daily. This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. General Motors is giving two of its top executives new responsibilities. The Detroit News reports that its head of global product development, Mark Royce, will take over some of the product-related responsibilities of President Dan Ammann, including Cadillac. The company is making the move to allow Ammann to focus more on GM's self-driving efforts. GM plans to launch an autonomous ride-hailing service next year, and we recently interviewed Dan Ammann on Autoline this week, and you can learn more about his plans for the company in that episode. Volkswagen is shaking up its organizational structure and giving regional responsibilities to its brands. Volkswagen is now in charge of North America, South America, and the sub-Saharan region of Africa. Seat will take the lead in North Africa. Audi will be responsible for the Middle East and the Asia-Pacific region, except for China, which will remain in the hands of the VW Group. And Skoda will be in charge of Russia and India. VW says this will allow it to develop products in different regions that better align with customers' tastes and will ultimately make the company more efficient. Well, Chevrolet is bringing back the Blazer after a 14-year absence. The midsize SUV gets modern Chevy design language with aggressive headlights like those on the Camaro and a rear shark fin creating a floating roof, which is so popular in modern utility vehicles. And for all you haters of Lexus's spindle grille, I'd love to know what you think of this front-end design. Available engines include a 2.5-liter four-cylinder making 193 horsepower and a 3.6-liter V6 making 305 horsepower. Both are paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission. On the RS and Premier trims, all-wheel drive and a twin-clutch transmission are available. The Blazer will be made in Mexico, and the UAW is not happy. The union's vice president slammed GM, saying that it pays its Mexican workers less than $3 an hour and that GM Mexico exports more than 80% of the cars it makes to the U.S. The new Blazer will be available in early 2019, and pricing will be announced closer to the beginning of production. Say, would you pay $180,000 for a Toyota? We'll have more about that right after this.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires, your journey, our passion. Dow Automotive Systems, advanced materials that deliver better results. And by Lear, a global leader in automotive seating and electrical systems.
We've shown you self-driving technology from Volvo's car and commercial truck units, and now another part of the Volvo Group is showing off autonomous technology. Volvo Penta, which makes marine vehicles, just demonstrated self-docking technology in a 68-foot yacht. The system uses GPS and sensors located on both the boat and the dock to automatically park it. While it doesn't look all that impressive, docking can be very difficult, so to take the stress out of that maneuver is a big help. The company is aiming to launch the technology in 2020, but not just for new boats. It's also developing a version that can be retrofitted into older models. If you were a top executive or a high-ranking government official in Japan, chances are you'd be getting chauffeured around in a Toyota Century. It's a high-end sedan that Toyota has produced since 1967, and while it's been reworked a number of times, is getting its first full redesign in 21 years. And like any vehicle of this caliber, it's all about the details. The Century unique Phoenix emblem is handcrafted over a 6-week period, and the 7 layers of paint are wet sanded 3 times to ensure a mirror finish. The back seat features plush seating with a place to kick your feet up and a large display screen for viewing pleasure. While a number of Century models in the past could be had with a V12 engine, the new 3rd generation is powered by a 5-liter V8 hybrid system, which combines for a total of 425 horsepower. Toyota says it's only planning to build about 50 of these bad boys a month, and they'll retail for 19.6 million yen, or about $180,000. French automaker PSA thinks it can make big money in ride-sharing. We'll tell you why, coming up next.
Lighter, safer, stronger, quieter, and more sustainable. Tell us where you need to go, and we'll help you get there. Dow Automotive Systems. We don't succeed unless you do.
French automaker PSA, the parent company of Peugeot and Citroën, is looking to return to the American market. But before it starts building or selling cars in the U.S., it wants to launch a ride-sharing service called Free to Move. And on Autoline this week, we're joined by Larry Dominique, the CEO of PSA North America. And he talked about why the company believes it can make big money with ride-sharing.
We are a high-revenue, high-cost, high-regulated business. What's the typical return on sales for an automotive company? 4%, right? What's the typical return on investment for a technology company?
Way above that.
It's way above that. Not only in valuation, but in revenue, because once you scale, it's free. To the most part, it's free once you scale. So mobility as a service allows you to have specific revenues in certain verticals, like a car sharing model, for example. But also if you're a service provider, if you're an aggregator, for example, like we are, you have the opportunity to tap into a piece of every transaction, right? And instead of selling X number of cars per year to X number of consumers, you now have the potential to have a customer base that's magnitudes higher, because you have 1 million customers, right, for your app or your service, not just the 50,000 that bought your car that year. Mm-hmm. So revenue never looks balanced, because the transaction prices are $33,000, $34,000 times 17 million. It's a lot of revenue, right? But the cost associated with that business is very high, right? So as we talk about distribution and models, we also want to help change that paradigm a little bit as well. But we do believe it's complementary. And we do believe that not only within the services, we've talked about autonomous vehicles and vehicles within ride-hailing and car-sharing. We still want to produce those, and we still want to sell those, but you're not selling them to private owners.
And for more about PSA's return to the U.S. market, you can watch that entire episode right now on our website, Autoline.tv, or you can find it on our YouTube channel. That wraps up today's show. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. We'll see you here again on Monday.
Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details, and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.